Yo, what up? It's Aaron Moses, and this video is about the video is about single parents, man. Should single parents be dating? Now, of course, I am not a freaking dating coach, so I don't know why people ask me these questions. People DM me questions. Some of them I answer, most of them I don't, because I'm a gentleman. But interestingly enough, I've been watching a lot of videos and I've been getting some answers from. Hold on, I should have got situated first. I've been getting some answers that I don't necessarily agree with. We're gonna break this down. Now, the question. I'm not gonna say your name. I'm not a Q&A type of person. If you guys want me to answer more questions, let me know. DM me. Got the information in the description below. But the question was, the guy was describing his problems with his new girlfriend, and he was saying that every time that she wants to do something, or he wants to do something, something's going on with the daughter or whatever, and he said he was not ready for him to meet the child. And I asked how long, and he said like 3 or 4 months. And I was thinking, bro, she obviously wants you to meet her child, blah 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 blah. And it was just this whole thing. So I tried to look up a couple answers, and the most controversial answer that I found was that a man, or we'll just say an adult, should not date a parent because they cannot be the best parent that they can be to that child if they are your girlfriend or boyfriend, and they cannot be the best girlfriend or boyfriend that they can be to you if they're a good parent. And I was thinking, wow, because I thought that before, and somebody kind of said that to me. But what do I actually think about that statement? We're just gonna say girlfriend, because I think 86% of parents are single mothers. All right, 86% of single parents are mothers, women. So you can't be a good mom if you have a boyfriend, and you can't be a good girlfriend if you're a good mom at the same time. Mm. Now, dude, I mean, what I say is this. It depends on the person, man. One of my sisters has 2 daughters, and from what she tells me, she doesn't do much besides go to school and take care of her daughters because she has to be there and raise them. And when I was taking care of Jimmy all by myself, I mean, how true is that? How true is that statement? I would have to say that's like a no offense, and I'm a parent, and I've been a single dad multiple times. Me and Liz got into a lot of arguments and broke up a lot of times. Now, the thing about that is, let's just give the example when I moved away. I think it's kind of like saying you can't be a parent unless that's kind of like saying you can't be a good dad unless you live with your child, or a good parent unless you live with your child. Parenting is guiding, guarding, protecting, and feeding your child. If you are, I mean, what is a good boyfriend or girlfriend in all actuality? Giving somebody attention, validation, sex, money when they need it, things like that. I mean, if you guys have money, I would say if the child's under a certain age. Like if the child is, I mean, when the children, I mean, children really need your attention like at all times, like from when they're born to like when they're maybe 14, at all times. When my mom had a boyfriend, She had one boyfriend for 7 years, and she worked a lot. 7 years from when I was in middle school or elementary school. I didn't meet him for 2 years. Weird. And all through high school, I think they broke up when I was like 19. See, that's one thing. One thing I'm gonna say is you should not be involving your children in your relationship. They should have no idea whether or not you're in a good standing. The only thing they should know is if you are broken up or if you're together. That's the only two things they should know. They shouldn't be hearing you arguing. They shouldn't hear. They shouldn't know why you broke up. In my opinion, they should just know whether or not you're together or not. Okay, that's what I think. But hey, who am I, right? Can you be a good parent and be a good boyfriend or girlfriend at the same time? I would say, I would say, I'll say this. This is what I'm gonna say. My mom was a single mom, right? And when I was younger, she always discouraged me from messing with girls who had kids. Why? Because she said I didn't want to be involved with her baby daddy issues. And I'm thinking, baby daddy issues? We're only 14, 15, 16. What's the worst that could happen? Until I got in that situation. What's the worst thing that could happen? At the time, the dude would walk up to me, hey man, I just want you to treat her right. And I was like, bro, are we about to fight? No, just treat her right. And she would be thinking about him, and it would be all these issues, and he would be trying to smoke with me. And I'm like, bro, I don't know if this is healthy or not. I don't play video games with strangers. Like, that's something sacred to me. But we could smoke because it's not my weed. So go ahead, light it. For the men, I would say for the men, I would say if the dude, do you want to take care of somebody's? Do you first of all, do you want to take care of another man's child? That's the big question. Number one, do you want do you want to emotionally confuse that child? Do you want him to? I've seen this situation. Do you want him to be caught up in his emotions or her emotions and think that you're gonna be there for forever, ever, and start calling you daddy after 2 months? Do you know how hard that is? I've seen it. It's never happened to me. I've seen it. Do you want to hear about how excited this child is to see you? And when you're like, I'm about to break up with your mom. She been being a bitch a little lately. Do you want to do that? Do you want to look at this child knowing that you're about to break up with his mom? Do you want the responsibility, especially if you don't have children yourself? Can a mom be a good mom and be a good girlfriend at the same time? From what I've seen, see, like I'm not gonna put my family's business out there. It depends on the age of the child, and it depends on the woman. Can she multitask? I think one of the only situations where I would say yes to this is if she's a stay-at-home mom and you take care of all the bills, which you definitely shouldn't be doing. So for the men, I think that you can be a good boyfriend if you have a single mom as a girlfriend, unless there are certain boundaries put into place, which I have no idea about. So why people ask me these questions, I don't know. Because personally, yeah, Liz has kids and stuff, but that situation's a little different. I'm not gonna put her business out there like that. Now for the ladies, now a single dad dealing with the single. Let's put me in this situation. Let's say this. For me, because I'm not a millionaire, I would obviously need some kind of financial assistance with this child. Let's say if Liz moved to California and it was just me and little Jimmy, right, in a house, and I was making like 60, right, 60 bands a year, right. 60 bands a year, Jimmy's three. Let's say in an imaginary world, I have a car, a license. Let's say I'm not a felon. Let's say I had a house, all of that, right? Rented house, two-bedroom house. To be a good girlfriend, what would I be looking for in this situation? Definitely some financial assistance. Ideally, I would be spending 40 hours a week with my child, the same amount of time I would spend at my job. So, the time that he's not in school, what will we do? When will we have date nights? Birthdays? I think the situation looks better. It's easier for a woman to deal with the man because it's harder to it would be harder for a man to have specific boundaries dealing with a single mother because as a mother you should be doing certain things for your child, right? You should be protecting them, guarding them, guiding them. But at the same time, if you don't have masculine energy around this child, whether this be a little boy or a little girl, there's gonna be a lot of issues. Let's say if you don't have your own dad in your life, if you don't have uncles and brothers and cousins that are there to mentor this child in their masculinity or to show this child what masculinity is supposed to look like, I think it would be a bad move as a single mother to not have a boyfriend, but at the same time, I think there has to be a strong routine. Am I saying yes or no? Usually, when I ask my mom relationship advice, she gives me pretty poor relationship advice. And the relationship advice that she does give me that's good, I typically ignore it because I like to look at people's histories, right? I like to look at the things that she has been subjected to, okay? The things that she's put herself through, the things that I've seen my peers put themselves through. I personally, I would probably do it how my mom did. Long term, that didn't do any damage. I know my sister was 6 years younger than me, so when my mother and her boyfriend broke up, my sister was still in high school or like in eighth grade, and the situation it wasn't too dirty. It wasn't that bad, but I think I think as a single mother, you having a boyfriend around will be the responsible thing to do. But at the same time, look at it like this. If you do that, you have to make sure. I think my mom did the smart thing. We didn't meet that dude. We didn't meet my mom's long term boyfriend for 2 years. I think it would be responsible for you to make sure that this is going to be long term. I heard his name pop up here and there. She would be staying out all night, like maybe once a month. When I was older, I could take care of my sister during school nights or on the weekends. Nothing much to worry about. But it made me think about this. Now, if you have a boyfriend, if you have somebody who's willing to step into that situation, what kind of what kind of person is he? Is he gonna be because the thing about it is, ladies, we have something called, and I hate that it's called this. We have something called the sexy son theory, and what the sexy son theory is, as a woman, if you don't have a male around you to help you with to develop the masculinity of your son, you're gonna raise your son to be the perfect man for you, and this is something that is theoretically inevitable, right? You're gonna raise your son to do everything that your perfect boyfriend would do. Not saying that you will be sexually attracted to your son because that's gross. Not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, if that were the case, it's going to happen either way. Number one, why? Because you don't have any choice. because you think that's what you want in a man when in all actuality that could be contrary to the truth. Possible. It's possible. But on the other hand, on the flip side, if you do have a boyfriend, your boyfriend, who you are sexually attracted to, who you picked out of the hundreds of people in this world and thousands of men sliding in your DMs every year, you're gonna pick the man that you think is perfect to be around your child. Okay? What this man is gonna do is he is going to rub off on your son if he's not around his own father enough. And he is going to do what this man does, who you are sexually attracted to. So either way, your son is going to become the perfect little gentleman that you always wanted because that's how your boyfriend acts. And if you don't have a boyfriend, that's how you're going to raise him. You get me? So it kind of doesn't matter the amount of time that you give your son or your daughter, the quality of the time that you spend with this child. It does matter. That's more so what we're talking about. How you divide that up, that's up to you. Now let's say with the father, a single father, right? If you have a son or a daughter, if you have a daughter, your daughter's gonna be in alignment and in agreement with the masculinity that you exude. Okay, she's gonna grow up and want to marry a man just like daddy. Not that men actually do this purposely. It's just how it is. That's just a father-daughter relationship, right? If you bring another woman around her, women and girls interact differently than men and boys. It's different. There's a little bit more competition. There's more fighting for daddy's attention. There's a lot of different things that are different between that situation. Now, say if it was me and Jimmy, Jimmy is going to grow up to want to have that same type of woman. Whether I, whether he acts like me or not, he could be totally different from me. He's going to grow up saying one of two things. I want a woman that's just like my dad's girlfriend, but I'm nothing like my dad, or I'm just like my dad. So I'm gonna have a girl or multiple women just like my dad's girlfriend or something like that. Everybody, strangely enough, oddly enough, somehow, some way, grows up to want or attract that same person that has given them the most positivity in their life. Simple as that. Simple as that. Just like when I look at these females, I'm like, you remind me of my mom, and that's a good thing. You remind me of my mom, that's a bad thing. You remind me of my auntie or my grandma, that's a good thing, that's a bad thing. And I can pick apart. I'm like, dang, bro, this is weird. I understand it, I don't like it, or this and this and this, and that's just how it is. Can you be a good parent and date? Can you be a good parent and have a steady girlfriend or boyfriend and be good to them at the same time? I think it depends on your financial stability. I think it depends on the activities in your life. So look, we'll say this. Can you be a good parent? Can you be a good single parent and have a career that demands a lot of attention? Can you be a good parent? All these rich people I grew up with, both their parents have careers. A lot of them. Okay. Dad's a doctor, mom's a lawyer. One of my girlfriends was really like that. And she had no attention. One of my friends, her mom was a her mom was a surgeon and her dad was a geologist. No attention from the parents. Can both parents be business oriented, career oriented people and be good parents? I've seen in my experience that's a no. Okay. Ideally, I mean, what it if you're like my age where you already did the clubbing thing, I didn't do the clubbing thing. I just never liked clubs and bars. If you already did that, if that's out of your system by now and all you do is Netflix and chill, if you're okay, if that person's okay with just having Disney night, twice a week. I mean, twice a month, and then having date night twice a month. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I'm sure there's more to it that I don't think about because I've never been in this situation. Me seeing, I would say the number one way to optimize to for this to be great is if the other parent isn't even a part of the picture. Total deadbeat dad has no idea where you live, or she lives, or he lives, or they live. Never sends money, does not feel entitled to their attention at all, wants to do his own thing. Papa was a Rolling Stone, or Mama was a Rolling Stone, that type of thing. Okay? That's the only situation. Now, you got somebody like me, I would totally advise against that, bro. I would totally advise that. Against that. Why? Because, bro. Because. And I think of it like this. My mom has given me a little bit of game on relationships, dating, but for somebody to feel like they should not, so that they should totally tell their child at a young age to not date single mothers. I think there's something important about that. I've also seen people's parents encourage them to date single mothers because they knew how it felt growing up without their father, and they knew they could add some significant energy, positive energy to this child's life. I've seen people encourage their mothers. I mean, I've seen mothers encourage their sons to deal with single mothers because of the fact that they knew how it felt. They knew the struggle of being a single mom, and they just wished the man was around them to help them with this little kid. But can you be a good girlfriend to a man if you have a child? Mm, well, I will say this, and I already said this like 17 times. I will say this: you shouldn't expect a woman to put her child beneath you. But at the same time, if she does, there's a possibility that she could be a better mom because of you being there. There's a possibility that he could be a better father, ladies, by you being there. There's more money in the house. There's more hands on deck. There's more lessons to be learned. There's more travels, culture, food. There's more opportunities. But men at this, this is why I really didn't. When I was younger, a lot of my friends started to have kids, and when I saw what they were going through, it made me say, I'm not gonna have any more friends with any kids. I mean, with kids. Why am I not gonna have friends with kids anymore? Because when I want to do something, there's always there's always something to it. Like I had this one friend, he would always invite me, gee, let's go to the club. Let's do this. Let's do this. And it would turn around to, oh, you know what? I guess we gotta stay at the crib and play 2K. I'm like, bro, I don't want to do that. And have the kids running around all everywhere. I'm like, bro. And it wasn't just that one friend that you guys might be thinking I'm talking about. It was multiple people. Can't smoke in the car, baby in the backseat, can't turn the music up too loud because the baby sleep. I'm like, bro, I'm not, let me leave then. I'd rather be alone by myself. If that's what you want to do, if you feel like you're mature enough, if you feel like you can do it, if you feel like it's worth it, if you want to give it the old college try, I'm not saying that if you have a boyfriend and you're a single parent, you're a bad mother. I'm not saying that. Or a bad father. I'm saying that I don't think anybody should be alone. I don't think that. I'm not saying that single parents are predators, but you have to be if you if you're a single father, I mean if you're a single mother and you have a boyfriend, what I think you should do, and everybody's gonna. I already know. I already know how people view me. I think that if you have a boyfriend and you're a single mother, and you know you spend a lot of, and you want to be the best mom you can be, I think that you should have. I think you should let that man have a side chick, because you know you're not always gonna be available, and he's not gonna expect you to be available. So what is inevitable in a lot of situations is that he's going to find something else to do. And I don't. I'm gonna say it just like I'm gonna say it like that. And it's not a maturity thing, and it's not a faithful thing. If you want to be a good single mother with a boyfriend, I mean, when I say single, I mean you're not married. You're not married, and you're not with the original baby daddy. Okay, you're with player two baby daddy. I think that you should give him more space, more more room, because we're coming into a day and age where we have feminism, where people are not being shamed and made to feel guilty. Women are not made to feel guilty or ashamed for being sexually expressive. I think that if you want somebody to be stood up here and there, or spend their money on your child, if that's something that they agree to, I think that they should be rewarded with that space. Not a whole stable or a whole harem or anything like that. Just that space. Just that space. You know how it feels to be stood up. You know how it feels for somebody to tell you that someone else is more important than you. And yes, it is your child. But that takes a lot of mental strength. That takes a lot of patience. And that builds up a lot of frustrations, sexual frustrations. You might say, hey, why don't you just, masturbate? It's not the same thing. Why don't you just go about with the boys since we can't go out? It's not the same thing. Why don't you just go see another movie, and then we'll see the movie we were supposed to see together another day? It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's not. It isn't. You'd like to think that, but it isn't. What I want you to do is, I want you to know I'm not a bad person. And when I when I've entered certain interactions and people would tell me, women would tell me that they did this instead of doing this with their children, or they did this, or they were gonna spend this on their children, but they spent it on me, I was thinking, you're being, you're chasing this, 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 this pipe in my pocket instead of being a good mother. And how I feel about that is I don't feel good. I feel like a thief. I feel like I stole something from your children. When I would see other people do that, I would judge them harshly. One thing I had a, in my older days, in my late, like a couple of years ago, I had a girlfriend, and she would constantly be asking me for money and to be helping her in specific ways with her essays and asking me for advice. And as soon as my son was born, the first thing that she did was ask me for some bread. And I told her, look, bruh, I have a child now. Any money that I have is not my money. It's my child's money. I'm never giving you money again. Even if you come over here and do what you need to do, I'm not gonna give it to you, bro. We're not going on dates. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. I'm not giving you advice. If you're not calling me trying to give me advice or trying to keep me company while this baby sleep, I don't want to talk to you like that, bro. I don't. Another one of the last time I called her my girlfriend, she really broke up with me. And now that I think about it, it was at first I was insulted. At first I was insulted, And low key, I'm still insulted right now. If somebody were to say that to me, I would laugh it off. But because I didn't know what I was getting myself into, I was very much so insulted. And I just felt like I had to prove something. She said, "You need to take care of your child, bro. You need to focus on your child and not on me. Because pretty much, I don't got shit to do. I don't have shit for you. Or handle your priorities." But at the same time, I was thinking, bro, this child is like 3 days old. He sleeps for 20 hours a day. He only wakes up when he needs to eat. He doesn't do anything. Later, I mean, I found out. I found out the hard way. But shoot, if somebody's there and can help you, that's totally different. So for people, I think that you can't judge the situation unless you have a child. Could I have been a good boyfriend to this woman and maintained a great relationship with my child? Absolutely. How you think I did it this whole time with his mom? Uh huh. If you can be married, as long as you're not cuddling, watching Netflix while the baby's crying, sleep, laying in a diaper full of shit with an empty bottle, it's all up to you. What's the difference between what is the difference? The only difference is you don't want to have to deal with those outside entities, such as family members from the baby or family members from the other parent or the other parent themselves, and bills. That's the only two things. Do you want to pay for this child, and do you want to deal with that potential conflict? If you're up for those two things, or those two things are non-existent, if the man or woman's like, look, I'll pay for the child, I make 6 figures, I just need somebody that and go on dates and watch some of this Netflix with a real player. If that's the case, it's different. It all comes down to those two things: financial stability, financial situation, and the relationship and the existence of the counterparent, the co-parent in that situation. If they are even co-parenting, if they're alive, if they're not alive, obviously this has nothing. You don't have anything to worry about unless the family is country and they all 3 of them come over a day and their cousins hang out on the porch and smoke weed all day. Then it's probably gonna be a problem. I don't like to meet people's families like that. So that's all I have to say on the situation. I really didn't have to talk about this for 30 minutes, but that's it, guys. It's Aaron Moses. Life is in the breath. Breathe it in. Peace.